Hey friends, how are you doing today? Nothing like a good fresh cup of coffee while your kids are asleep. That's the best cup of coffee. Oh my God. But enough of that. How are you doing today? It's Sunday here. It's raining. It just feels like the perfect day to sit on the couch in my heated blanket and talk to you. It's been a very long time since I sat down in front of the camera and just talked to you guys, and I felt like today was the perfect day to do that. I've had a lot of things happen in my life since my last post, and I can't wait to tell y'all because y'all my people. Y'all my people. So where to start? So my husband and I are business owners. That happened by faith, unexpectedly. Rewind to tell our story. I come from a medical background. My husband from a manufacturing engineering background. He worked for his company, and I won't say the name, it's not important. He worked for his company for almost 12 years, and he was dedicated. He moved up and around in different positions. He loved his position, and they merged. They had a big merger, and so they released 250 of their employees, which a lot of companies are doing. And that happened in January last year. January last year. So he was released from his position, and he went on and found another position, actually two, and he was completely miserable in both of those positions, but that's a different story. My story, I worked at the local health department. I was in a temporary position because when COVID hit, I left my medical job to be home with our boys. We have two boys, Brandon and Mason. Brandon will be 15 in April, and Mason just turned 10. My baby's 10. But he, they're growing up. But during the pandemic, we had to make a choice. One of us had to be here because everything was shut down. And he made more money than me, so it only made sense that I leave my position to stay home with the boys, and I did that, and I loved it. We had the most amazing time. We spent time together with each other one-on-one. We ate lunch, breakfast, dinner together. It was amazing family time, which in hindsight, it makes sense that we utilized that time wisely because our life drastically changed after that. And so when the pandemic hit, I went home. And so after the pandemic started to kind of, let up a little bit, I went back into work, but at this rate at a call center that was COVID related. And so I was there giving advice and helping people get vaccinations and that kind of thing. So I did that for a year and a half, and I loved it. Had the most amazing coworkers, and it was just amazing. Well, then my 14-year-old got hurt at school, and he tore his ACL and his meniscus, and it had to end up having surgery. So he had his surgery, actually got hurt the day after his 14th birthday. It's my kid. When I tell you anything that can happen to a person, usually me. But, I'm releasing that because that ain't the energy I'm taking into 2023 and beyond. Okay? So he got hurt the day after his 14th birthday in school in science class, tore his ACL and his meniscus, freak accident. Had his surgery the day after Mother's Day. Came home. I ended up taking a couple days off of my job, actually 3. I took off the day he had surgery and then 2 days after to help him recover, which really should have been longer because the first 2 weeks of his first major surgery ever, he was home alone, and I felt complete mom guilt, but I knew that my job by me being in a temporary position, I knew that I didn't have any PTO. I didn't have any means to secure my job if I wasn't there. And I'd already had some conflict with the agency's supervisor, because for whatever reason our personalities just did not mix, and that's an odd place for me because I typically get along with everyone, and I'm very flexible, and I'm a people person, so I'm not perfect, but I did not and still do not see what warranted our rocky relationship. Anyways, so fast forward, I took off those 3 days, and that led to my demise. So I was having to take him to appointments, and so when you have a surgery like that, you have several appointments. He had physical therapy, he had orthopedic visits, and my husband's physician, he was working for a foreign company that was not very flexible. He had PTO, but he had to have it approved, and it was very strict. So the facility that I worked for was very flexible with me. They allowed me to flex my time, but my agency was not excited about that, and they did not agree with that. So they ultimately decided to let me go from my position. And I say they decided to let me go, but I really don't believe that's how it happened. Let me explain. So I'm a woman of faith. God is everything to me. He has provided me thus far. Even when times are rough, I lean on him, and I know that he is the one that is the driving force in my life. So my birthday, I said July 5th. Y'all, I'm crazy. I ain't had enough coffee today. My birthday is July the 4th. And so July 4th in 2022, I sat on my porch and I prayed. God had been showing me signs that the reason that I was having all these issues at my current position is because it's no longer serving me, and that's not where I was supposed to be. Few years back in 2018, I had been in school for trying to pursue a nursing degree, and while I was in school full time, I had the wild hair to bake cookies and sell them, right? Britt's just winging it. I've been winging it all my life. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, just in case you were wondering. So 2018, I started selling cookies on Facebook, just on a whim, selling them at, my job that I was working at the time. My husband was selling them at his job that he was working. And it got to a point where he was coming home and he was eating like 10 dozen cookies he would get off at 11 o'clock, y'all, at night. And he would come home and be like, babe, I need 10 dozen cookies for tomorrow, such and such. I was selling them another dozen. Such and such wants these cookies, such and such wants these cookies. And I was like, dude, I have a standard oven. Like, I can bake at most 2 dozen at a time. You gotta do cooling time, and then you gotta wrap them. Like, it got to the point where I was totally burnt out, and I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to bake for cookies. I don't want to bake for money because it's driving me nuts. I just can't do it. So I quit. So fast forward back to me sitting on my porch in July 2022. I had been praying and asking God to give me a sign of my purpose and what it was that he had placed inside of me to share with the world. And he kept bringing me back to the cookies. And I was like, Lord, that's not it. I know that's not it because I've been there, done that. I got a badge, but I don't want it. That's not it. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I hated it when I was selling cookies before because of the demand of having to do something that I loved for money. Like, it drove me nuts. And I'm like, Lord, this ain't it. no, this is not it. But I kept seeing signs, and I kept hearing signs, and everything in my path was just reminding me and taking me back to, you need to be selling cookies. You need to be selling cookies. Perfect your recipes. You need to be selling cookies. And I was like, so y'all, I kid you not. July 4th, 2022, I sat on my porch, okay? And I prayed to God on camera. It's on TikTok. I did it. And I prayed to God that He pushed me out of my position when it's time for me to step out on faith. If cookies is what it is that I'm supposed to be doing, I prayed that He would push me out of my position, because I never want to make the wrong move. I never want to feel like I know something and then just jump. Even though I'm winging it, I ain't winging it on the dumb side. You know what I'm saying? I play it smart. So I prayed and asked Him to push me out of my position once it's time for me to start my cookie business, if that was His will. Y'all, that was July 4th. 4 days later, your girl was fired. Okay. You are no longer needed here. Thank you for your service. Here's the door. Boom. Like, I was like, Lord, you answered it real quick. And I really hope you got a plan, because I ain't got no plan and I don't know what's happening. I went from making $24 an hour to being on unemployment. Now that is some hot tea, and it's hard to swallow. I was terrified for about 5 seconds. Because I knew that God had me. I had no doubt that this was the plan for my life. And my coworkers were devastated. They were hot. They were upset. I had one that was ready to fight. And I was like, ma'am, you cannot fight. You still have a job. I need you to stay the course. This is what you're doing right now. And I shout out to you, because Lisa Lou was ready to roll. Okay, Lisa, shout out to you. But most amazing coworkers, I miss them. I see them occasionally, and we still keep in touch. But they pray for me, and they prayed for me then. I just love them so much. Syra and Evelyn and Amy and Aya and everybody there, just amazing, phenomenal people. But I packed my box and I walked it out to the car, and I pulled my bootstraps up and I got ready to fight, because I knew that, and not fight like Lisa was ready to fight, but fight like, this is what I got to do, so I'm gonna do it. So I got myself together, threw my box in the trunk, and came onto the house. Was I scared? A little bit. Did that last long? But did I get over it? Also, yes. Why? Because I knew that God had a plan. I'm always winging it, but God always has a plan. So I was like, all right, Lord, I'm with you. Let's ride. You riding, you driving, I'm riding and dying. But not dying, because I ain't ready to go yet, because I got a lot of stuff to do. But you know what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. It's a phrase. Rock with it. So, here I go. Unemployed, 2 kids, a mortgage. What am I about to do with some cookies? How many cookies do I have to sling to keep my life together? I didn't know then, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot. But I was capable. You know why? Because God had me. So I left there. We actually had a trip planned for our anniversary to Chicago, which was another straw that broke the I think that was really the straw that broke the camel's back, because they denied my time off request, even though we didn't have PTO. And I had put it in a month in advance, and they ignored it. And they were like, oh, we missed this, but we got too many people out off site. So yeah, you can't go on your trip. I had airline tickets already purchased like the year before. I had hotel paid for to Chicago. I was like, bruh, I can't cancel my trip 2 days before my trip. Like, I put this in months ago. You neglected to acknowledge it. I'm not going to cancel my trip last minute. So that was really the straw that broke the camel's back at my employer that sent me into unemployment. Actually, escorted me into my blessing, because that's really what it was. So anyways, my ADHD kicks in and I get off topic, y'all. This is probably gonna be the longest short story that y'all done ever witnessed. But if you still here rocking with me, you still listening, you are MVP, and I thank you. I appreciate you. Anywho, focus. So I left from there, and it was like God airdropped into my spirit this woman's name that I was familiar with, that I never talked to. She knows my mom, and she knows some of the other people because we all worked for the school system for a very long time. I did that for like 14 years. So I was familiar with her, but I'd never met her. So I reached out to her on Facebook. She called me, we chatted. Come to find out, she had just started, probably about 6 months prior to me contacting her. She had just started a commissary community kitchen, and the rent was cheap because it was created through a nonprofit to help small businesses grow their businesses. And so she was actually in search for a cookie person. I was a cookie person. It was like, like God was like, girl, go over there and do that. This is what you need. So in July, when I got back from Chicago, me and my husband went over to view the kitchen. It was small, but it was perfect. It was 5 bakers that shared the kitchen. There was like a kind of text message thread where we would schedule time, if somebody needed it. Sometimes it was more than one of us in there at a time, which was kind of tight, but we worked it out. Everyone's very nice. And like, if you run out of a cup of sugar and you need a cup of sugar, like, you could borrow a cup of sugar. Like, it was just, that kind of setup. It was really a great foundation and what I really needed at the time. So I did that. I started with them in August. And we started doing pop-ups. I started booking pop-ups at our local mall, who had small business pop-ups once a month. We booked some festivals, and we went to work. And I say we because, yes, I was doing the baking, but my husband was helping me with setup and transport and packaging and all of that good stuff. So, my hair looking a mess, child. Why didn't y'all tell me? Somebody pause the video and tell me to fix my hair. So we were doing that. We were grinding, okay? We grinded from August to September. And in September, we were just kicking around the idea to find a space, because the kitchen that I was baking out of was great, but it was difficult to produce the volume that I really wanted or needed to produce for it to be profitable. Because the storage was minimum, and we just really needed a space. If we were going to really do this and make this a full-time thing, which at the time that was all I had, child, because I was unemployed, we needed to see where this could go. So us starting in the community kitchen was us seeing where it could grow. Once we saw the response to our product and the demand at which people wanted to place orders, and just all of that was amazing. And it gave me the confidence to really dig deep and push through. So that's what we did. So fast forward to the middle of September, and it was the beginning of September. Something spoke to me and was like, go see the mall. Now, y'all, let me tell you about our mall. So our mall was popping when I was in school. The mall was the place to be. You got dropped off, fully dressed, makeup with the black lip liner, you know what I'm saying, back then, because it was the thing to do. We all looked emo now that I think about it, all that dark liner and eyeliner. And anyways, Nothing wrong with that. If that's your style, go with it, baby. Because if you like it, I love it. But it just was not. It shouldn't have been on my face. But I thought I was cute. I digress. So the mall was popping back when we were in school. The mall kind of died off a little bit. And it was really like, pew, 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 pew. Woo! You know the little noise that plays when you like in the cartoons and it's the desert and there's nothing around. That's kind of how our mall was in 2022, because one, you'd had the pandemic for the last 2 years. Stores had shut down. But also, probably 10 years prior, there was an outdoor mall that was created maybe 5 miles from where our indoor mall was, that really took all of our big name stores. And so the mall really was looking kind of sketchy, and it was really looking kind of lonely. And so I was like, go to the mall, Lord. Ain't nothing in the mall. What am I gonna do with the mall? And so I was like, I'm not going to the mall. I don't even want to know what's in the mall, because I ain't going to the mall. I know ain't nobody else going to the mall. Who wants to be in the mall? Because ain't nothing in the mall. That's my thought process, right? So me and my husband, we get in the car on the weekends and we go around and we looking at different units and different buildings, different strip malls. And child, when I tell you that rent was high, it was high as a giraffe's, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, I can't pay $3,000-$4,000 a month for rent, and I ain't living there. You know how many cookies I gotta sell to pay $3,000-$4,000 a month for rent, and I ain't living there. So that was very humbling, to say the least. So we took a couple weeks to drive around and, talk to people, and we did find a couple units that the rent was like $1,500. And I was like, okay, that's still more than our mortgage. And we got a pretty decent house. And we bought our house, several years ago. So our mortgage is small compared to these new mortgages. But I was like, that's still more than our mortgage. I don't really want to, for a first-time business owner selling cookies, and I don't even know how many cookies I'm going to be able to sell. I'm stepping out on faith, Lord. I know you got me covered, but I just think it ain't in my spirit to pay $1,500 a month, and I ain't living there. You know what I'm saying? So I finally give in. It hit me again to go to the mall and just check the mall out. So I went to the mall. I was like, all right, Lord, I'm going to the mall. I told my husband I was going to the mall. He was like, for what? What's in the mall? I was like, I don't know, but I got a feeling I need to go. So I did. Went to the mall. There was a cute little store that was open. Had the big for rent sign or for lease sign in it. And I was like, this could work. And it's not big, so it can't be that much. It might just be enough for us to get our feet wet to get started. So I reached out to the lady. She just happened to be there. She met us there, showed us the space, told us the price, which was half of what we were seeing in the reasonable range. So we were like, all right, Lord, we could do this. Like, we could totally sell enough cookies to pay this rent. If this is your will, close the other doors and let us know. Shine a light down on this spot and let us know this is where we need to be. Because it's not really popping like that. The mall is kind of dead. What if we don't get any traffic? We don't really have a marketing budget because we're self-funded. But the Lord kept telling me, just walk. I've lit the path up for you. Just walk. Step out on faith. So that's what we did. We stepped out on faith. And we signed our lease at the end of September. Went in, or the middle of September, we went in and we did renovations, did some painting. 2 to 3 days before we were set to open, our oven finally arrived, so I was able to play with the oven and get it tweaked. And yeah, we launched our brand new cookie shop on October the 1st, 2022. And our grand opening was hugely successful, blow your mind successful. And it just further confirmed that we were on the right path. So once we launched and we were in it, of course, there was no way I could run that shop by myself. So my husband left his position that he was in. He was completely miserable in. He left that position and he came to work with me full time. So we have been at the shop full time since October the 1st. And I fire him every day. I'm not gonna lie. Every day I fire him. Does he come back to work the next day? Yes, he does. Because he has to live with me. And he knows that if he doesn't show up after he's been fired, it will not be very good. So we get along very well. And people always ask, like, how do you work with your spouse all day? When you come home and you are at home with them all day and all night, like, how do you be around? How are you around them so much and you don't want to kill them? Well, I do want to kill them. I do, but I can't go to jail. Prison does not look good on me. So, I tough it out. I'm just being honest. And I can't do drugs because drugs are bad. So I just pray, drink my coffee, and I keep it moving. And you can do that too. When people get on your nerves, just pray, drink coffee, and keep it moving. Because prison don't look good on you either. And I don't want you in there. I need you to be free so you can come buy some cookies from me. Now, what's the name of my business? Our business is called Sweetbcookies. Yes, Sweetbcookies. And we are located in Burlington, North Carolina, inside the mall that I once believed was dead. She has risen. We have new stores popping up. It's very exciting. The traffic has increased, and we are right in front of a very, very hot spot, the Bouncing Around Arcade. When I tell you that place is lit, if nothing else in that mall gets traffic, that place gets traffic. And literally when you walk out that door, you're facing us. And what hits you in the face? The smell of cookies. And guess what else we have? Popcorn. So if you're not a sweets person, we got popcorn too. So we're gonna get you either way. So it has been phenomenal. I cannot complain. Do we have ups and downs? Yes, of course. Do we have slow days? Yes, of course. But do we have those days that take the soles off our shoes because we done moved from one step to the next so fast that we just didn't even know one was coming? Absolutely. And we love it. We love it. We've been working very hard to cultivate some partnerships with local businesses in the area. And we've joined our we're working on joining our Chamber of Commerce. Somebody got to turn in an application. I done claimed it. I guess it's already, I done spoken into existence. Ain't even turned the application in. However, it's coming. But we are working on bigger things for our cookie shop. Yes, we've been in business for a very short time. But when we got into business with the expectation of growth, with the expectation that we would propel our business to heights that we never imagined. So yeah, that's my story on how me and my husband accidentally, on the fly, became business owners. I mean, that's kind of really how it happened. Yeah. I've 3 times now attempted to film a come to work with me video. So I'm gonna piece those 3 days together and create a video for you guys to show you what it's like, a day in the life with us at the cookie shop. We are excited that we are getting ready to start shipping. So if any of you out there are interested, I will leave in the description below links to our website. We're on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, so that you guys, if you're interested, if you'd like to order, we are the home of the banana pudding cookie. And that's our biggest seller. That's really what propelled us and gave us the traction that we needed in the community to really grow as fast as we've grown. So I'll leave that in the description if anybody's interested. We hope to be shipping sometime in March, and we are very, very, very excited. God is just so good. It's nothing but God. Like every day, all day, that is my testimony. God is merciful and he is faithful, and if you just trust him, he got your back. I'm gonna tell you, will you go through rough times? Absolutely. But will he leave you? No, never. And I am a living testimony. Like I just am. I'm so in awe of what God can do. And if you are faithful and if you listen, he'll speak to you in his own way. And he will show you what it is, give you answers. Just pray. Pray with the intent to receive an answer, and he will show you. And it's always okay, in my opinion, to ask for confirmation, because, honey, I asked about 6 confirmations. I was like, Lord, all right, you show me. I need you to show me again. I need you to show me again. Did I see the last one? Yes, I did. But do I need another one? Yes, I do. Why? Because I don't get subliminal messages. I don't do that. My brain doesn't process. Sorry. But can you confirm it once again for me? And he will. And he did over and over again. And thank God that he's patient, because I know I'm that child that he be like, is it you again? For real, sis? You again? Because I don't want to mess it up. Because I'll jack it up. And I ain't got time for that. I done detoured my path so many times that I ain't got time for another detour, Lord. So I need you to show up. I need you to hold on to this hand of mine. Hold on to it. And I need you to escort me. Like I done got in trouble and they sending me to the principal's office. I need you to escort me. And I need you to show me where to go. Highlight it in pink, because that's my color. Let me know it's you. That's all I ask. That's not a lot. That's not a lot. But I'm pretty sure he's tired of me. But I love him because he loves me. And that's all I got. So if you made it this far in the video, I apologize, because I know my ADHD has gotten from tangent to tangent, back and forth across, and I apologize. But that's just how my mind works. And yeah, so I'm sure this video is all over the place, but I thank you for rocking with me, and I thank you for lasting this long. I hope that you were inspired in some way by something that I said, or at least maybe you got a little chuckle off of something that I said. But I'm so grateful for you. I've got a little over 30 subscribers right now, and I rock with all y'all. I really appreciate you. I thank you for supporting and watching the videos, for commenting and interacting with me. If you have any questions about the shop, or any questions in general that you'd like for me to answer, I would love to do a video and respond. So give me something to talk about, y'all. You know, it doesn't take much for me. I'll just, rant and ramble on. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry in 2023. I'm gonna stop apologizing, because this is who I am. Okay. Anywho, I hope you have an amazing day. I thank you for rocking with me. I hope that you know that you are blessed, and you are loved, and you are needed, and you are appreciated. And if nobody does, I do. I'm grateful for you. And I hope that you are grateful for you too. Sometimes you got to hear yourself say that. So do it. Go get in the mirror and tell yourself that you love you. Even if you don't have anything else to say, love yourself. That's the bare minimum. I love you to life. See you next time.